Hello, I'm Min Kobayashi, and today is a very scary day. This is the day I'm going to talk about my goals from 2018, and now that it's like the middle of the year, how well I did, how well I failed. Sometimes I failed really well. Sometimes I succeeded very well. First of all, my reading challenge from Goodreads. I originally put this at 100 books, and then I've upped it. It is now at 200 books, and I've read 122 books. I know you're saying I should get a life, because that is very true. Some of them are poems or graphic novels and stuff like that, so they're not just all straight novels, and I read a lot of audiobooks. The amount of physical books I have actually read is embarrassing. Some of these are upped from the beginning of the year simply to accommodate what I was reading. I wanted to challenge myself a little bit more. So first of all, I have 50 classics, not including Shakespeare or poems. Currently, I'm at 35 of those. Shakespeare plays, I was supposed to read 12, and I have currently read 8, which I'm really proud because I'm at the home stretch. I have the War of the Roses era, his history plays. Those are the only ones I really have left that anyone has heard of. Otherwise, I have to do like the Comedy of Errors and Pericles, which most people haven't heard of. Read all counseling books. I'm a counseling major. I did not fully finish an entire book. I did count one of them as a finished book because I read most of it and I made tons of notes on it. And it wasn't a book that you had to read all of it. 10 non-fiction books that are not from school. I read a political book, I read a philosophy book, I read a few autobiographies and memoirs. It's been really fun. It's been really fun. I'm enjoying expanding that part of my reading life. Read 2 science fiction books. I don't know why I put it so low. I read over 20. I don't want to count them all because for some reason the majority of the books I have read this year have been science fiction. Although most of them aren't in space, but still. Read 2 mysteries. I just finished my second Agatha Christie, which means I read 2 straight mysteries. I'm definitely going to read more of her works though, so. 2 to 5 in the Harry Potter series. I've read The Chamber of Secrets. I still need to read Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, and Order of the Phoenix. Read the first trilogy of the Mortal Instruments. I've been going through the Mortal Instruments and annotating it and looking at it from a critical point of view. This entire year I've gone through another 100 pages of City of Bones. I'm over halfway through that book in a year and a half. I'm really proud of myself. And then read all unread John Green books. So I haven't read any of them. Really respect you, John Green, and I will read your books. I own all the ones I have not read. Read a Bronte novel. I have not read a Bronte novel. This can be from any of the 3 sisters, but I am planning on finishing one by the end of the year. And then read a Dickens novel. I read A Christmas Carol. I'm counting it. I'm still planning on starting Great Expectations real soon, so then it will be a full-length novel. And then read a Jane Austen book. So I read 4, so that made up for the fact that I haven't read either of the other 2. Read a book over 600 pages. I read Emma by Jane Austen, which is over 600 pages. I read Illuminae, which is 599 pages in the version I read, which I'm pretty sure counts. And I read Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson, which is well over 600 pages. 20 poems. I've read 10 so far, so I think that's pretty great. Graphic novels. I said I would want to read 10. I've read 14. So I'm really proud because December was the first time I ever read a graphic novel. I added this as well because I was realizing that even though fantasy is my favorite genre, I've really been neglecting it of late. So I put that I wanted to read 40 of them. I read 28 so far. And then we have the shamefulness of the fact that I made a TBR mostly of classics, but books that I really just needed to read by the end of 2018. And I have 15 of them left. I can't remember exactly how many I had at the beginning of the year. However, I have a stack of them, which is why some of my bookshelves are pretty empty right now. The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak, which I'm starting real soon. This is shameful that I have not read this. I have Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. I'm pretty sure just the ugliness of this cover is what is keeping me from this. But I don't feel bad. I'm going to annotate this version and then later on I'm going to buy a prettier version. Then I have The Scarlet Pimpernel by Amaska Orski. I'm probably killing her name. This is a book I've wanted to read for a really long time. I don't have a physical copy of it. It is on ebook. And I hate ebooks, but I am going to try to finish it. Or start it by the end of the year. I can't make promises that this will be done. I can't find any physical copies of this book anymore, and it sounds a delightful book. Funny and awesome and has to do with spies in the French Revolution. And then The Warrior by Cinda Williams-Chima. I love Cinda Williams-Chima's 7 Realms series, and I haven't read anything else, and I need to continue, especially this book. This is my friend's book. She lent it to me in May of 2017, and and I haven't read it yet, so it's embarrassing and I need to read it. Then I have The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. This is a book that I have also needed to be reading for a while and I just haven't picked up. Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I had Northanger Abbey and this one on my TBR for 2018. However, I've read most of her other books, so if I don't get to this, I won't feel as bad simply because I read 4 other Jane Austen books. Then I have The Help by Catherine Stockett. This is a book that I do really want to get into and I think would be really eye-opening. I remember really loving the movie when I watched it several years ago, and I do really want to read this book. And The Mountains Echoed by Khaled Hosseini. I absolutely love this author, and I'm reading A Thousand Splendid Suns right now, and I really just need to read this book. Then I have Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. I wanted to read this book since before I bought it this year, and now I really need to read it, so I'm going to get to this. I promise. Stardust by Neil Gaiman. This is a book I wanted to read for years. It has enticed me. It is wonderful. I asked for it for Christmas. My lovely brother gave it to me. And I have put it, I think, on already 4 TBRs for different read-alongs. I read the beginning. I was mesmerized. What is going on with my life? I don't know why. This is shameful. Shameful. Will Grayson. This is a book that I've read the first like 4 chapters of last summer and I really need to finish. And then Looking for Alaska by John Green. I also want to read this book because it sounds like ridiculousness. Also just John Green's great humor, and it has famous last lines in it, and I love famous last lines. He talked about a book on Vlogbrothers once and I wanted to buy it, but it was really, really expensive. This is like the sneak peek. I want to read it for that reason and that reason only. Jane Eyre. I can't wait to pick up this book. That is my mid-year check-in. I hope that you have been doing better than I have been on finishing my goals, and wish me best of luck in the rest of 2018, and happy reading and writing. Bye.
525,600 minutes.